This video shows the complete restoration of a marble sculpture. This is a marble sculpture made about 50 years ago, probably in about the 1970s, by my grandfather, Joel Mosko. He made it in Denver. We took it out of the box a week ago, and we found that this part had really been chipped off pretty badly. So we used the oscillating tool to cut it down. This angle now more or less matches this angle, so I think we're keeping within the design language of the piece. But the base really is, the idea is to make a new base. So here we're trying to just cut straight down and establish a new plane for this base. It's very soft stone. So I've decided to resurface and repolish and re-wax this stone, because the stone underneath is really nice and light, and I like the light color. And I think what happened was he put a paste wax on here after he finished it, and then he buffed that in, and the wax is really yellow, so there's been a lot of oxidization. I've got a museum wax that won't yellow, so we're going to resurface every single plane of this whole thing and get the yellow away. And also we're going to sharpen it up just a little bit, because you can see it's really got a lot of kind of bent corners. When I plane these, I discover how curved some of these edges are, and so there's actually quite a bit of work to do here. And some of the corners are chipped. So it takes just more, the only way to eliminate that is more planing. So here I'm halfway into resurfacing. This is the original surface, and this is the work I've done. And I like the color a lot. Right here, there was a pretty deep hole that there's no way to erase. So we've been saving this powder, this powder in this bag, just in case we have to make a repair. We mixed that powder about half and half with baking soda. We put it in here. It was actually pretty deep. It was probably more than 1/4 inch deep. And then we just added a drop of CA glue, and that gave us a nice patch. It's been really fun to see these straight lines emerging out of this stone, and you have to be careful when adjusting one facet that the other facet doesn't accidentally start to curve. Made a little sanding stick with sandpaper to get into the corners. Working on the nose is tricky because every stroke can have an impact. Probably the only time I'm going to use a chisel on this. I made one mistake. I inadvertently took out too much material here, so I just extended it to make this little flute here, and I like it a lot. I think it really adds something to the I think it adds a lot. I like it. So now I've made one pass with 240 grit on most of the surfaces, and it's really transformed from a kind of rough crystalline surface to this slippery, aerodynamic, smooth surface. On the bottom facet so that it's balanced on this axis. And it took some work because it was leaning. And now I think I would like to bring the nose down a bit, just a bit, so that I'll change the angle of the base a bit so that the nose is a little bit flatter, like down in here. Now you can see that the base is more stable front to back, and side to side it is also set up more vertical. It doesn't lean as much, and it's a little more balanced. My idea for the base is to just mirror it, to have it go out and away according to the footprint here. So here's my base with the 45-degree basic angles cut, and here's the footprint here's the footprint of my sculpture here. And I want to make facets here so that it mimics the language of the sculpture. And that's hard because these are very shallow, and any kind of cutting you do could easily go too far. So the first thing I did was I used the saw, because it's long, to make this cut here, and it's not very deep. And then on the sides, I'm coming in at a very shallow angle because I want to hit this line this way. And I started with the stiffer blade, but then I switched to the trim saw because it's thinner. And I'm making pretty good progress here. And the trick is just to keep the angle very shallow. And so I think I've got the recipe here. There we go. Whew. So I'm pretty happy with this. This is all fairly well polished, and I have good lines. This will all be covered up. Okay, we're fixing the mounting system now. We cut the bolt. This is the original bolt. We cut it down to the right length, and it's been epoxied in, so it isn't going anywhere now. And here's my base. It's a little dusty. Base is done. Put in a perfect hole there so we can then fix it to the base. See, it's lower than the top here. And the sculpture finally has a solid base. And there it is. I just happen to have a sheet of felt with adhesive that is exactly the right size for this. for the hole here, I can just find it by feel. Okay. That's good enough. So now we have a base. And you can barely see the part that took most of the time. Then we'll go ahead. So, okay, now to this side. Are there some scratches here? Did you work on this? No, you worked on this, right?
I worked on this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Someone ate my chocolate.
Oh. So now it's done polishing. This is at a 2000 grit finish pass, and then the red rouge polish, and then finally it has been buffed. And now we're going to just hand wax it using, do you have the other? Using the Renaissance microcrystalline wax.
This one's empty though.
And, no it's not.
Here.
And I expect this to not need too much. You can, I'll show you. And this will be the last step we do. And I also don't expect it to change the look too much. But it will prevent oxidation, at least to some degree. And we may want to put a couple coats on the car. I could wax the base as well. I haven't decided about it. And now I've added 6 coats of wax, and this is the final buff.
I can trade it in for 0 money because of how much the shit is.
Shai and I have made a box for the sculpture that just fits it, and we've made it entirely out of found scrap material that we had laying around for other projects. We have made it in a what's called a half box drawer style, so it's really locked together well. And we put in these blocks to hold the top. You can see we've made the top so that it just fits right on here. And then is held down with 4 bolts. Also, we've made little carrying handles with the router on the sides, and inside the box, styrofoam. Again, this is found material. This is from somebody's TV. Everything here, really the box costs nothing except for the hardware. And then we're going to use Instapak Quick Fit expanding foam modules for the bottom and the top. This is an Instapak. I think it's 15 by 18 inches or something. Costs about $6, and it has foam chemicals inside. So Shai is going to smash it. Okay, ready? And pop. Here's another pop. Okay, go.
Okay, it's getting
There it is. There's the other pop.
It's super warm. It's warm.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, that's where I want it. Right there.
Okay, it's kind of going through the whole thing and puffing.
Come on, puff. Okay, go. Slide, 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 slide.
Okay, it's puffing.
Just let it go. And this is bag number 3. That's good.
Okay,
Perfect.
nice.
Okay. Let's put a rock on it. Here's the unboxing.
The reveal.
The reveal.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is what we had in mind. I'm done. I've done the final buffing with 6 coats of wax, and the sculpture is complete after more than 100 hours worth of work over the last 4 weeks. It's balanced, it's sort of nose more level, and the base is made of plywood, painted black, and you can see I've taken a lot of time to match the base to the features of the sculpture. Also, it's very stable. It's really not going anywhere. So if you put this on a table and someone doesn't know and they bump it, it's going to be fine. And just show you that the nose has essentially been sharpened. And all of this is all just the natural marble coming through. And here's the underside, has all been polished. It also comes with a storage case that has all the ownership information. It has handles that are sealed because this may be in storage and it may get wet someday, so this helps protect it. We have made custom foam liners so that it fits the sculpture exactly. So, you know, a sculpture lasts a long time. A sculpture outlasts people and can last for hundreds of years. So the goal of this crate is that it may sit in storage for decades, but it will be in good shape, and it can also travel. This project has kind of brought me closer to my grandfather. He made this sculpture when he was about my age. You know, it's been interesting working on it, thinking about what he would want and what his original intent was. And I kind of think of this as a collaboration between both of us. He, of course, did 90% of the work and making the original sculpture, but I sort of feel like I turned it into the thing that I want, and that he would have approved, and he would be proud of the work I've done to kind of carry his work forward.